Hey folks, welcome to this episode of SchezzWho. I'll give a quick shout out to a few important people, starting, of course, with my wife Andrea. Big things are around the corner for us. I can't wait. I love you and thank you for all the help you do on getting this channel off the ground and everything else. Now, Charlie Roy over at Southern Volkswagen has retired from Southern Volkswagen. So, if you want the quality around the town type of car, make sure to get in contact with Dennis Hoops over at Southern Volkswagen. Also, I can't forget about Ellen's Homestyle and Barbecue. If you're really hungry and want something hearty and tasty, and I'm thinking something like fried fish, I'm a big fan of her fish. And all the sides, or perhaps the new shrimp bowls that I just saw her promote the other weekend. Ellen's food is always on point. And remember, there's a location in Virginia Beach across from Regent and a location in Portsmouth across from Victory Shopping Center. Now, a little bit about me tonight. I really wish I could have provided a more strident progressive voice in the upcoming Virginia 2nd District Congress race, but I didn't keep up with the signature petitions. I was busier than I wanted to be. But while I won't be on the 2nd District Congress ballot, I will be following politics to the best of my ability and keeping up with the Community Action Team, also known as the 757 Battle Cats. Now, if you're wanting to pay attention to local politics, and you see elected officials are sort of falling off on their duty of helping the Black community, join us at the Battle Cats, 757battlecats at gmail.com. Join our Zoom meetings and our think tank. And as we pay attention to the votes of the city's elected officials, and we will compel their action to improve our community. And we will do so via publishing report cards on their successes and failures, as well as give out community palm cards so politicians knocking at your door will have notice that we mean business. Speaking of business, we're moving on to business tonight. I will have guests on to speak on both Chesapeake and Virginia Beach mayor races, and they will be Miss Nikia Miller from Hampton and Miss Melissa Lukeson from Virginia Beach. I'll bring them on right now. I'll point out that earlier today, Miss Nikia and I met over at the Slover Library in Norfolk in order to enjoy Black Brand's Inside Politics Forum. I thought it was at least enjoyable to see so many people there, if maybe we didn't outright agree with them. So I want to start off with pointing out the fact that I arrived a little late. It started at 9. I was like 10-ish or so past that when I arrived. It was going all the way to 1:30. Miss Nikia was already there. So could you fill us in a little bit, at least what I might have missed?
How they broke down the meeting was, the forum was, there was the General Assembly update, then there was the mayoral forum with Kenny Alexander and Shannon Glover. Then following that was the federal update, which was done by Aaron Carter. And then it completed with the city council update, which was Councilman Don Carey out of Chesapeake, who is running for mayor. Sabrina Wooten, who's running for mayor in Virginia Beach. And Vernon Tillage, who is a councilman in Portsmouth. I don't know whether he's running or not. Don't quote me.
Not this year.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't think that Lamont was running this cycle for mayor, which it's admirable. Oh my
God. So I think you mentioned that I may have missed some state delegates. Were there some topics that I'm pretty sure I missed because I didn't get to see them?
Yes, the Virginia General Assembly and State Senate updates were done by State Senator Angela Williams Graves and Delegate Jackie Glass. And they did the first segment.
Do you know what they were talking about, or was it kind of general?
It started off kind of general, more so talking about the processes to get, bills before the General Assembly and the State Senate. they kind of went over what their legislative agendas were this past cycle. And then it opened up to the Q&A portion where people submitted questions and then they answered them based on their position in our state government. So, whereas the beginning was just more so an all hands on what they do in their roles, and how businesses and nonprofits and all of that can connect with the General Assembly and with the State Senate. The second part of it, that was the Q&A, was definitely a lot more, off script.
Yeah, especially because Black Brand specializes in the business aspect here. It's sort of like all the politicians would want to mainly talk about business per se. So I was able to hear from Shannon Glover, Mayor of Portsmouth, and Mayor Kenneth Alexander, Mayor of Norfolk. They had a little bit of a back and forth where it seemed like they were trying to fight over who was the best city to have regionalism start in, something to that effect. That was quite funny.
That's exactly what it was. It was Shannon Glover and they were going about which city demonstrated regionalism and all of that, and they were fighting over who will eventually have the better casino.
That's
well, I also noticed that they got it. Yeah, it was quite funny. I sort of snickered.
Well, especially considering the skills game bills that are still the thing with skills game, and so you've got the casino. They're fighting over like who's going to have the best casino. Meanwhile, you've got legislators there who are fighting real hard against the casino lobbyists who are trying to keep skills games, which is very business related because small business owners who really want skills games are real big mad right now at some of those legislators.
It was hot and terrible.
Did he talk about that at all?
They didn't talk about hardly anything that anyone who was not like watching the whole toxic masculinity thing that was going on. It was just horrible to watch.
So they basically did not speak of anything substantive.
Not at all.
It was just a circle jerk for political people.
They did talk about what to me is substantive when they mentioned collective bargaining, because I've been I'm a very big proponent of that. I spoke at Virginia Beach City Council to try to get Virginia Beach to do it.
Right. And the Kenny's Council in Norfolk, they said no.
Yeah, and he seemed very, very proud of that fact. And
very. And Shannon Glover was actually complaining about the fact that the firefighters in Portsmouth have a CBA. He was big mad.
Honest up until that point, because I knew the vote was 4-3 when it passed in Portsmouth, that I was misremembering that he was one of the votes. He was not one of the votes. So I guess this was one of his.
He was big mad.
Yeah, this is his attempt to partner with Kenny and saying, I don't know if Glover had this phrase, but I know Kenny said it a lot, that we don't sell products. I'm like, why is that something they would prohibit employees of a city to get collective bargaining? Because the city itself doesn't sell stuff.
So what do you mean? And then the question is, what do you mean the city doesn't sell stuff? How much money are they getting off of the tickets and all of that that's sold at Chrysler Hall and the Scope and all of that? For what? Hold on. The hell you say?
The hell you say? That is because it's not a Ford plant, or it's not
Yeah.
Not manufacturing is what he's doing, but the power, I feel like what's so disheartening to me is that you have two powerful Black men in the highest positions in their city, and they're
Right.
willing to remember what union work and collective bargaining has done for Black people and why it was really like the founding of
Yeah.
the labor movement, and you're not supporting the labor movement.
And I mean, you look at it, and I decided not to be petty.
Oh,
I did.
Good for you.
I operated outside of the petty, but I was tempted. I was tempted, Melissa. Oh my God.
bet.
Because I really was going to ask Kenny about why he chose to tear down Ocean View. And I was going to ask him, does his position against collective bargaining have to do with his inability to welcome federal, leaders to the city of Norfolk because he was so far up Michael Bloomberg's ass that he could pick out the DNA on his colon?
What a
How
way to
long
phrase
has
it.
Alexander been mayor of Norfolk?
I think his first term completed the last time he ran because it was framed up
He's
until that
new?
point.
No, he's not new. Kenny owns Metropolitan Funeral Home. Like, that's his family.
Okay.
And he was in the state senate before he became the
mayor.
mayor. But like, Kenny has always been about money.
Well,
He's not, they try to tout him as a Democratic mayor. Kenny's not a Democrat.
no, he's not.
And, anybody that'll sit there and kiss Ben Carson's ass in order to get him into the city of Norfolk, and to build up Ghent.
Yeah.
The writing is all over the wall. Like, if you know what you're looking at, you can see the graffiti.
Yeah.
And, but people don't, it's like they look, and I'm going to call it like it is, and I can say this because I am. They look at him because he's Black, and they expect, oh, well, he must be a Democrat because he's Black. Kenny is not Black. Well, no, sorry.
That's about rephrase that one. Yeah.
You might have to edit that. Kenny is Black.
This is live.
We are live.
And I said that shit live.
I just know that
Sorry.
I didn't say it.
Sorry. I didn't mean it. That was actually a Freudian slip. Kenny is not.
I'm just really glad I didn't say it.
But if the stiletto fits.
And it would.
If the stiletto fits. I'm sorry.
I guess in that instance, it's apropos that
Bro,
I'm sorry.
after
I didn't mean that. But you know what? If the stiletto
he's not a
fits,
Democrat, is what
he's
we're
not-
saying.
he's
Don't
not-
be fooled, Kenny Alexander. We do not believe is a Democrat.
He's not a Democrat.
would we say that of Shannon too?
And like I said, I
don't
was
know about
allowed.
I don't know enough about Shannon.
at
I
his
don't
thing.
either.
No, Shannon's all right.
Shannon's. I've heard Shannon's all right.
Yeah, Shannon's all right. Shannon's all right.
I
He'll
think-
talk to you.
That could have been Shannon. That could have been Shannon just doing them man things they do when they need to
Yes,
feel.
sir.
You know what I mean? So maybe because Portsmouth passed collective bargaining.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like whatever, Shannon, you can talk. Nobody's listening.
Yeah, and he
It
was
was
already
already
thinking
passed it.
about it. And
And
that's
if I
where,
recall, that was led by his opponent in the mayor race, Lucas Burke,
Ah,
yeah.
let's
who
get
was not there
Yeah.
today.
elected. All right.
Listen.
Anyways,
Now,
Okay.
that
Sorry.
section of Mayor Alexander and Mayor Glover finished. There was a little bit of a break. And then we have on councilmen and councilwomen. Don Carey, who's now a councilman in Chesapeake, who is running for mayor in Chesapeake. Vernon Tillage, councilman in Portsmouth, but he's staying a councilman this cycle at least. I do remember someone sort of laughed when he said that he's not running this cycle or something to that effect. And to them, it's like, oh, he'll probably run for mayor one day or something like that.
He should. He should.
Very well could.
Lamont Tillage is what you want your leaders to be. He's what you want your, we go from talking about, Kenny to talking about Lamont Alexander. You want him as your mayor. He's young. He has a vibrant voice. He's not about the BS. His path to council was actually because of the whole BS brouhaha that happened with the coup that happened in Portsmouth with Mark Whitaker, Woodard, DeAndre Barnes, and Paul Battle. He was already on the school board, but he made the decision because of all of that bullshit and fuckery that was going on in Portsmouth that he was needed on council. And just before he ran for office on his own, he was Louise Lucas's LA.
Okay.
So decent dude. Like I know that I know that I went on my rampage about Kenny Alexander, and this is the reverse of that.
The reverse of that. Okay.
The reverse of that.
Yeah, I'll point out that
talk about people who are doing things right, and Don Carey is one of those two. Don Carey, yeah, he's running for mayor of Chesapeake.
I know.
Now we'll touch on that in just 1 second, but I do want to point out that Mr. Tillage or Councilman Tillage mentioned that he is the type of person that even when he's not running, he still likes to go out in the community, knock on doors, and just feel the pulse. And
oh wow, that's cool.
I don't know if that's an anecdote that I can't verify because I haven't seen him in public as yet. If you're watching, Mr. Tillage, stop on by the West Haven neighborhood. We'd love to see it. We can chat it up about politics. But yeah, that is what I would like politicians to do, is constantly be in the community.
Yeah, and to give Don credit, because he did Don Carey. He's a moderate.
He's a Republican.
He's a moderate.
He's a Republican.
Here's the talk.
He may be a moderate Republican,
which is a thing. Yeah.
Which is a thing. But he's still a Republican. But listen, I'm just going to make this position clear. He is the better choice.
Between him and Rick West? Oh, yeah.
Rick West, right?
That leads me into my question.
The what?
That leads me into how I wanted to phrase the question for at least the Chesapeake portion. I put down my notes, and I would point out that Chesapeake had about 33,000 total votes in the 2020 presidential year mayor race. Comparatively, Virginia Beach had about 220,000. Chesapeake is known as more solidly Republican, at least in 2020 it was, because Rick West got 65% of the vote, while in Virginia Beach, which has a deeper municipal Republican history than Democrat, on the municipal races, Bobby Dyer only won with 51% of the vote. Now, granted, RK was in that race too, and he's known as a lot more conservative. He got about 10,000 votes. And even with that, that would only push Bobby to about 55% as compared to the 65 in Chesapeake. So back to Chesapeake. Does Republican Rick West have a significant threat to his seat from a Republican councilman and now current Democrat mayor candidate in Don Kerry? Is his race going to be more compelling?
I think so.
I do too.
Yeah, I think you have a couple things going for you. It's hard though, because the racists be racing.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you're talking about having a black man as the mayor, we all know how that's going to go in a city like Chesapeake. We know, we'll talk about Virginia Beach, and we can see the effects of that already by, what's going on in Virginia Beach. But, I think that if he sticks to his Republican moderate, but I'm still a Republican stick, and having been on the recently, he's officially off of it, I heard, which was better. But the Crisis Pregnancy Center, he sat on the freaking board of the Crisis Pregnancy Center. Don't talk to me about being a fucking Democrat when you sit on the board of the Crisis Pregnancy Center. Bye. But apparently he is no longer on the board. I guess he resigned, or I don't know if he was asked to, or if they were going to ask him to, but that was recent. Like, he just resigned from that. And so if he sticks with his moderate Republican shtick, I think he's got a chance.
Is that just something that just plays better on a citywide level? Just being a moderate Republican?
I think in Chesapeake.
In Chesapeake it does.
In Chesapeake. I mean, honestly, in Virginia Beach too.
Probably too.
Yeah, probably too, but definitely in Chesapeake. But I think he has that, like, there's that star factor too, because he's an NFL player. Yeah. Plus he's already on council. But there is the title of mayor, right? Mm-hmm. It's still just one vote, right? It's just one vote.
Yeah.
You're just the chair.
You're literally just the chair. You're and so aside aside from that, right? If you're really just trying to be reasonable and pragmatic, it's like you're just one vote, right? But it's the privileges that come with being mayor, right? And I think that is what you will see where the race is going to come out the woodwork, right? Because we're going to see who wants Don Kerry to have the privileges to say that he's the mayor of Chesapeake.
Yeah, after all, he would be at an event like today, probably on the first section where he's alongside Glover and Alexander in that instance, as like the mayor section, as opposed to the councilman section. There's a prestige angle to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
And now, just to piggyback off of that, I was having one of those "you need me to smoke this blunt" moments.
Did you know about the pregnancy center, Nikia?
I did not.
That's why I was making them faces about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge issue for women, for Democratic women.
Excuse me, why I smoke?
It's a huge issue for Democratic women. And but in Chesapeake, it's a local level. Like, I think Democratic women can get behind Don Kerry, even with that, okay? Because he's not a legislator. And I've said the same thing about Virginia Beach. Like, if Chris Taylor were mayor, like, I would never, vote.
Yeah, Hampton's the same way.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't ever vote for someone, even if I were to vote for a mayor that was a Republican, which is likely not. But I do at least can acknowledge, like, hey, I would never vote for you on a state or federal level. But, like, if you're moderate enough,
if you're moderate enough, and it's the lesser of two evils between you and Rick West, yeah. And I'm gonna go ahead and go on my Chesapeake spiel right now.
Go ahead.
Don and I have had a chance to talk, and I mean on a pretty serious level. And today at the Black Brand, he was like, "You didn't tell me about what was going on with your daughter." And I was like, "Well, we were talking about other things." at that time. I was like, yeah, this is a situation. And he's like, yeah, I want to get with you so that we can have this conversation about ways that the council and the school systems can work together to try to do, what was part of Celeste's law. And I was just like, solid, you know what I mean? And that, in Chesapeake, yeah, he would definitely, by Chesapeake standards, be seen as a moderate. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But we're talking about Chesapeake. We're talking about the same city where there is.
We're talking about practice.
Yeah, we're talking about practice. But no, we're talking about Chesapeake, where literally there is a battle going on right now, not between the candidates, but between the campaign managers. I mean, it's like Lionel Sproul's crew against the world.
Randy Forbes.
Oh my God.
Forbes machine.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you sit there and they're like, okay, these are Democratic, committee endorsed candidates sitting here doing this petty backbiting bullshit.
It's politics.
For nothing.
It's ego, because politics is so much ego.
It's so much ego.
Definitely. Which we might touch on later.
I'm just like, whatever. Like I can't do it. And especially going through the process of running for office, I did get a chance to step back and just be like, would I really want to be a member of these bodies, or do I just want to continue to be an activist? And on the local level, it is better to be an activist.
Listen,
now,
I'm an animal. Nobody will cage me.
Yeah.
And running for elected office is like literally caging me.
Yeah, I just, when I ran for school board, and I don't know if, Conrad and Melissa, if you remember this.
Sorry about that.
I finished election day. It was over, and literally 2 days later, I was in the hospital.
Yeah, I remember.
Because it took that much out of me.
Yeah.
And I had to bite my tongue so much. And I am not a tongue biter. I had to do that running for local office. And I'm like, that's not knocking local politicians at all. It's just some people are built for that. And I'm not one of them.
Well, but here's the thing. The reality is, no, people aren't built for that. The reality is politicians live in the world of 5-minute conversations. Okay. They don't have longer than 5 minutes. When you get a politician, the best relationships that I have with politicians are the ones where we talk on the phone, and I've gotten to talk on the phone with them for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And
30 minutes, right.
And then those conversations end up turning now out to be an hour sometimes,
Right.
And those, that has been, there's a councilman that I dragged him publicly. I made my feelings very known. I was very steadfast in my criticism of him. And he took it. And through the last 2 years, we have had multiple conversations longer than 5 minutes. And we get an understanding of one another. And now we have a better understanding of one another. I know how to approach him. He knows how to approach me. He actually will reach out to me when he wants to absolve himself of guilt. Sometimes with a vote or something. I don't know. But it is the politicians, they're used to just having these quick, superficial
Yeah.
interactions with people, and it makes people think like, oh, like you're an elected official, like it's like you either hate them or you love them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that is that's one of our biggest problems with politicians.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I remember they're
Right.
trying to get 50, 100,000 votes at a time, so they don't think like they can reach in a significant way 50 to 100,000 people if they're only spending their time talking to one or two.
Yep.
But you know who does that great? Talking to 1, 2, 3, 50 people.
Yeah.
Lamar Tillage. You know?
Did it
Yeah.
today.
And that yeah, I have before now that I've
We
sat
do.
there and ran my critique of, you know, Lionel Sproul and Co. and the bullshit that he's doing that's gonna lose people their races. I'm gonna tell you a funny story about your lovely mayor, Madam Melissa.
Oh.
A funny one.
Was this from today or just a
No, this was from a while back.
Okay.
Remember when President Biden came to
Yep.
the rec center?
Yep.
Yeah. So Celeste and I were on the front row, and you know we were seated, and we'd been there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, then the row of mayors and elected officials come down the row. I was seated next to Philip Jones, who was the mayor of Newport News. He's an excellent mayor.
Yeah.
And we had a chance to talk. I got a chance to speak to Shannon Glover, and you know, we were all sitting there, and I asked Mayor Glover, I was like, "Hey, can I get a picture with you?" And I was like, "And you, Mayor, and you, Mayor Jones," and they were like, "Sure." So, I went to take the selfie, and the picture got photobombed by Bobby Dyer. Photobombed.
Was he doing the thumbs up?
Yes. It was it was a big old group of mayors, and Bobby Dyer photobombed this photo. But
With this,
when he photobombed the photo,
yeah,
who did he push out of the picture? But Donnie the Tuck. Everybody, Donnie the Tuck is what I call Donnie Tuck, the mayor.
Do you remember the brief video of Trump being at that G8 meeting, and then he just pushed someone out of the way?
Is
that what that was?
Just like that.
That's hilarious.
Bobby Dyer photobombed my shit.
That's hilarious. That surprised me.
But I was okay with it because he pushed Donnie the Tuck out of the photograph. I didn't care that Bobby Dyer had photobombed my shit because Donnie Tuck wasn't in it.
That's hilarious.
Now, speaking of Virginia Beach and Dyer, factoring in his 51% victory back in 2020, which was, again, much like this year, a very contentious race in Virginia Beach. It's a city where at the time that he won, Joe Biden won, and Mark Warner won, and Elaine Luria. They all won the city of Virginia Beach. And Jody Wagner was just as much of a Democrat as Biden or Warner or Luria. So where's this little division comes from that you might think?
Well, I think my little expert opinion, which is not really much of an expert, is that Jody Wagner raised $1 million and she still lost to Bobby Dyer. I do not find Jody Wagner in my few interactions with her to be charismatic or warm. Maybe she's a Democrat. She's probably an establishment Democrat, if I could take that guess. And that's fine. But I think it really came down to they don't, Meyer Obendorf was the mayor for I think 10 years. And I don't think the city really wants, I think the city doesn't want two things. I don't think the city wants a woman for mayor, and I don't think the city wants oh ha, 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 that's funny. I just did the peace sign, so it gave me balloons on my phone. Or an African American mayor. So I think that Jody combined, I think if the mayoral candidate was more charismatic. I mean, I have these same complaints about Sabrina Wooten. I don't find Sabrina to be as engaging and charismatic. I think she's a wonderful woman. She's very nice. She's very friendly. And I know what she's passionate on, but there's not, there's something missing, I think, from that piece of it, but I won't jump ahead, but I just think that was Jody's issue. And I don't think there was many people in that race, Conrad.
It was Jody, Bobby, and RK.
And RK, right. So that's a whole other animal. I think I think Bobby is sweating it this year. Which is why we're seeing what's happen in Virginia.
And that's why I want to break it down the way I brainstormed earlier today, because after that, as of the middle of 2023, so just this time last year, I think, Bobby was a notable, above average in popularity mayor. And former councilman John Moss then decides to jump in the race. Mm-hmm. So at that point, what does that race breakdown like if it was just Bobby Dyer and John Moss?
Oh, Bobby Dyer and John Moss. Bobby Dyer is that's a 70-30 vote. If not high, if not even 75-25.
I would probably think that too. I know that Moss is a well-known commodity because when he won in an at-large race.
Correct. Well, and you got to remember, he's Tea Party Republican, right?
Yeah.
There's a distaste for the Tea Party Republicans right now. Within the Republican Party, there's a distaste for them, and so and when you break down Tea Party Republicans out of the Republican pie, right? I mean, you're talking, I don't know, maybe what, 25% of the Republicans? It's
like that RK vote. It was only 10,000 compared to Bobby's 108.
Yeah, I mean, RK is a whole other, RK is a whole other animal. And RK is,
He's not running this year.
I don't even know what to say about RK. I gotta throw him some bones though, because this is his 9th time running for mayor, I think. And I gotta
or council.
Because even though I don't like the words that come out of his mouth, at least it's the truth. I don't question really like RK's authenticity. I think that RK is unafraid to state his positions on things, which I have a mad amount of respect for. I still can think you're a dirtbag with what your policies you know what I mean? Like what your opinions are. But I at least have respect that you will not hide them and that you will be honest. And that's what I want for voters, right? I want honesty. If there are going to be people who clearly 10,000 people voted for RK, and I would probably say a chunk of those people had interacted or seen him or somebody they trust told them to vote for him. So people are going to vote for people that they feel like aligns with them. So even when people say why do you think that white supremacists still have, you know what I mean? We still have these groups like Patriot Front and stuff. There's always going to be people out there that share your opinion and that you can get a vote from.
Now, right after you see John Moss announces, you would go to VPAP or something like that. And then you notice that Justin Burns' name is there.
Mhm.
So at that moment in time, when you realize there's actually three people, and I know Justin Burns is out of it now,
Yeah.
at that time, would that race be significantly different than the 70-30 split you just mentioned?
Oh, no. It would be like 75. I mean, I didn't even count Justin. Like, I didn't even consider Justin. I mean, even I like Justin. I've talked to Justin a few times. He's a very nice young man. He's, I think, in his mid or late 20s. Nice enough guy. Has some scandal, some political scandal from a couple years ago.
About
For
signatures.
yeah, on petition signatures for his school board race. So that's like a little bit of a stain, but I can look past that, if you know what I mean. If you do things clean, I mean, I would need to like look into it more, but I never even considered him. So like he probably would have gathered like 2% of the vote.
Yeah, especially if he was able to, let's say he was a much bigger name in terms of a politician and still had that scandal. Scott Taylor was still able to get lots and lots of votes after his signature stuff.
Exactly.
So much like you said, much like you said on charisma, that is probably what you really need.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yep.
will still like forever, ever remember when Scott Taylor was at the Wyndham talking shit about Elaine. Was like, well, you even said you voted for me. And she was like, yeah, I did. And then I saw what a horrible, how, congressman you were. And I had to fix my mistake.
Damn.
Die. That was my first time being exposed to Elaine Snark.
That's hilarious. I have a picture on my Instagram if you scroll down on my Instagram, Tattoo Maven, you will see a picture of me from like 6 years ago with Scott Taylor, because he came to a normal meeting when we were hot and heavy trying to get marijuana legalized. And he was in favor. There was a congressman there speaking, the guest speaker, and showing support for the legalization of cannabis. And I was like, who's this dude? Let me get a selfie. I didn't even know anything about politics back then. So, but I've never taken the picture down.
I think he still has me blocked.
Oh, dang. Still got you blocked. And then who jumped in next?
That would go all the way to December, and that was a very quick, within a week they both announced, but Chris was first.
Oh, Chris was first.
So in that, I had to double check. I'm like, I went to Chris Taylor announces and Sabrina announces, and Sabrina was about a week later. But in that week, when it's John Moss and Bobby Dyer and Chris Taylor, how does that race go?
Oh, well, that race, that changed things. So I'm sorry, Justin, but we gotta nix Justin. Okay. I don't even want to consider, like, I just don't think he would have been even like salient. So, I think if it was John Moss, Chris Taylor, and Bobby Dyer, Chris Taylor would probably take that at maybe, I don't know, probably I don't know that he would go to the whole 50%.
Definitely plurality.
It's definitely a plurality. Yes, it's definitely a plurality. But I actually was like, we're going to have Chris Taylor as mayor if it just stays like that.
Because that we all know that he's actually very good at being a politician. We're going to disagree on him being, say, at his core Republican, but I think he does things better than other Republicans do.
Yeah.
So far, I've seen that.
I mean, yeah, Chris is a little bit of an anomaly, but not in a few ways. Chris knows from a political perspective that the way to that mayor slot is with Was until Sabrina jumped in the race. Which I say jumped in the race. I believe Sabrina had been planning on running for mayor. So it's not like she jumped in. This was something she planned. But I think Chris, he is a Republican, but he tries to do this, like, this balance, he's trying to thread the needle really carefully. And he came after Democratic women, and he was smart for that. Because the thing about Chris that I like is he's pragmatic. He's data driven. He's facts based. But I will say that in conversation, he's very skillful at presenting things a specific way. And then he'll get you chasing your tail a little bit. And that's why I say he is a good politician.
Which would set him against other good politicians like Dyer.
Right. I mean, with me, I push back on him. I'm not afraid to push back on him. And he and I have had some really great, wonderful conversations. But we've gotten heated. I mean, I remember my husband coming in the house one day and being like, "You okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I'm fine. Just talking to a politician over here. But yeah, so Chris really changed the game. And he was doing feelers to seeing how he could pull, how much of the Democratic women he could pull and the Democratic support he could pull without being the Democratic nominee.
Do you think at least in that snapshot in time, it might even have been worth it? And I don't know if this would have been with the bylaws. You would know more about the bylaws, but whether or not he would even attempt to get the suggestion from the Democrats?
He never would have. He was a member of the local Republican Party.
Right.
Yeah.
So
now I will say this, though. His voting record, like his not voting record, but his voting, his score, it shows he leans Democratic. So how he
he voted against Amazon. Moments like that, you're like, he seems a little more progressive than he might otherwise, and then he was also a no vote against collective bargaining. So it's a give and take.
And his no vote against the budget is all smoke and mirrors. No, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You can say whatever you want to say about why you had a no vote, right? And you can give yourself cover for whatever. But the reality is that, this whole budget situation and then what they've done with the 2-cent tax reduction. And that was something that Chris and I definitely had
down to the wire. Yeah.
And we've had words on it, and I don't respect his vote about collective bargaining. I just don't. So he never would have gotten the Democratic recommendation.
Now, again, in that snapshot in time before the entrance of Sabrina, does Chris fight for any of possible Republican votes, or is it just him trying to get the independent and Democrat vote?
Oh, no. He would get some Republican votes too. That's why I'm saying, I would hate to speculate that it would go over 50% with the three of them in, you know what I mean? But I do think that split, I think that he could get some of those. I think he could get the moderate Republicans that are just kind of tired of Bobby thumbs up, you know what I mean? He's a da-dun-dun-dun. I don't know how else to say it. Bobby Dyer's just a da-dun-dun-dun.
To be honest, when I was running a 20, I thought when 24 came around that it was going to be Berlucci that was running for mayor.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, those fucking Lincoln log capping whatever Republicans they are.
Let me smoke this cart.
Now, in that week that Chris Taylor and John Moss and Bobby Dyer were all there, then comes Sabrina right around December 7th. She announced that she wants to run for mayor of Virginia Beach as well. And then in that snapshot in time, you have 4 serious, either incumbent or very recent incumbent city council and or mayors from Virginia Beach, who are all very popular. In the same election that Bobby Dyer got 110,000 people, So did Sabrina.
Yeah.
So this is a whole different ball of wax when Sabrina comes in. So how would you have projected the race if it happened on December 15th?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, December 15th, December 15th with all four of them in, I think it's an easy clean sweep for Sabrina. It was an easy clean sweep for Sabrina.
That's what I was thinking too.
She's going to have all of the she would have all of the, well, not all of the Democratic votes, but a huge chunk of the Democratic votes, behind the committee. Right. And then you've got the Republicans just eating themselves. You know what I mean? So, and Chris would have.
That's beautiful, though.
Yeah, no, it is beautiful. But
specifically in the city where when a lot of Democrats win on national races, Republicans still win a lot in the municipal races. You would need 3 to 4 Republicans running against each other in order for the Democrat to win.
Yes.
That's where I thought Sabrina really had a good chance.
Yes.
Right then at that moment in time.
That's it. Right in that, up until recently, the snapshot has been Sabrina has a path to victory. Easily, handily, because of the split between the 3 Republicans.
And then, as you mentioned, Justin drops out, and right around the same time, Cheryl Turpin trumps right in. So what is our quantification now about the whole race?
I don't even believe in Jesus, and I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel. Well, let me just start. You want me to tell you how I really feel?
Let me smoke this cart.
I know. How I really feel is that Cheryl Turpin has no desire to be the mayor. She is being recruited by Republicans who are desperate to keep Bobby Dyer as the mayor because the Republicans want a demantana for their one vote. Okay. And the racist white people in this city, a lot of them do not want to see a Black mayor, and they damn sure don't want to see a Black woman
mayor.
And the white Republicans and a Black one too is recruited her and is pushing and working with her on this race. And I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but let me tell you, I'm going to use every breath in my body to make sure that every single person I know that votes in this city knows exactly why Cheryl Turpin is running. And she's even stretching it like, mom, Democrat, teacher. Okay, so mom, Democrat, teacher. Let's see, Democrat. Why are you running for mayor when Republicans are the one pushing you for mayor? No Democrats were pushing her for mayor. It was the Republicans. And you wouldn't jump into a race if you weren't trying to just disrupt it 30 days before you have to turn in signatures. If you had planned on running for mayor, you'd have doing the things that you were supposed to be doing, and you would have announced months ago. Mm-hmm. So I just want to call it exactly what it is. This is political fuckery, and it's political fuckery with our city.
I just don't understand. I don't understand.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. You absolutely understand because you're a Black woman. You understand the power behind this. And they do not want her to have that power. And they don't want Chris Taylor to have it either. Don't get it twisted. They do not.
It's a system for a reason.
That's right. It's a system for a reason. So don't get it twisted. They don't want Chris Taylor either. But they saw that Sabrina had no one running against her, and they knew that no one would. No one would. I made jokes about running for mayor on like a political satire campaign about raising taxes and stuff,
Mhm.
but I could easily have done that, funded it myself, put some signs out, a website, whatever, not even run a campaign, but just some visual marketing, right? I didn't do that because, well, one, like I'm not trying. I mean, if there was no Democrat running, like I guess I would have. But like, I'm not fucking with Sabrina. Like, I'm not a white woman coming in to take that from. She's already serving on council.
Mm-hmm.
She's done an amazing job.
She provided a yes vote for collective bargaining.
She was a yes vote for collective bargaining. Are there some things that I have disagreed with Sabrina on? Certainly. I don't expect my politicians in my city, the elected officials, to be perfect. And I don't expect them to align with everything that I want them to align with. But when you're aligning with 75% of the things that my values align with, and you're actually doing the things, like you're
Right.
we have actual documented proof that as a council person, she puts in the work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And historically has put in the work. And then you're going to, because your ego is so fractured and fragile, this white woman is going to jump in this race because she feels like she has political sway. She is irrelevant, and she lost to a Republican. So she needs to sit down.
Yeah.
Republican who's now a congresswoman.
And you're a Republican who's now a congresswoman. Exactly.
Yeah. I just this pisses me off. And Sabrina, if you're watching, number one, I don't smoke all day.
After 8 p.m.
Yeah, I don't smoke all day. And I gave you my card for a reason. Let's talk comps.
Yeah, she and the one thing with Sabrina, I wish that it's very hard because on one side I say she's her own machine. Okay, she has the people that she's working with, right? And it is this group of people who are great, but
it worked last time.
Yeah, but not utilizing other community resources and advocates because they play things very close to their chest, right?
Right.
Now, if I were Sabrina, I would probably feel like I would be doing the same thing because, the way she's been treated as a council person, even, because she's a Black woman, like I've said this the whole time, like that you can see the difference in the way Sabrina's treated on that council, even compared to House or Chris Taylor, right? And
yeah.
So
I tune into Virginia Beach meetings sometimes.
Right. And so I would play it close too, but so it's hard. I don't want to criticize her for doing that, but I also see that can be a weakness and a weak point or weak spot for somebody like Cheryl to play on.
Right.
And Cheryl, I don't think she's going to run it clean. I don't think she has a lot negative to say. I think the only thing that Cheryl can really probably try to hang her hat on is that
teachers,
but also that Sabrina, taken some Republican money. I, as a progressive, and even the way I feel about money in campaigns, it's awful. I also understand why Sabrina has to work to raise money and work the way she has to work. And Cheryl, I think, I don't know. I'm real mad about Cheryl jumping in this race. And I believe in democracy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But if Cheryl were doing this for the right reasons,
it would be
It would
entirely different ball game. Yeah.
Like the hypothetical, if Sabrina wasn't in the race, she just wanted to run for her district seat again, and then Cheryl decides to get in. It's a little different story.
Yes, correct.
Sabrina had been running since
Yeah.
December.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody knows Sabrina was running. And this is, like I said, this is just political fuckery. That's what this is. And it's political fuckery by the Republicans because they're so desperate and they're so afraid of losing because they only care about winning. They don't care if it's the best person for the job because all the little puppeteers in the backgrounds are the ones that are really calling the shots, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, Sabrina, when you are, I am not, you know, I've never run for office. I am also a white woman, right? But if I were to hypothesize in politics that Sabrina's probably taken money from Republicans. I know she has on her, according to her VPAP, right? But like, you need to. Aaron Rouse took money from Republicans. If you are a black candidate,
that right there, after we finish talking about this, I want to talk about that.
Right. So like, so I can't, like, I, as a Democrat or as a really a progressive, I'm not really even a Democrat. I am a democratic socialist / communist, but but as in my purview here, I am saying that, like, I don't fault Sabrina for that. And you'll hear a lot of racist Democrats using that language, talking about how, oh, is she really a Democrat because she takes Republican money and she also has taken developer stuff and she's voted this. Okay, don't question. She's a yes on collective bargaining. She got us our independent citizen review board. She does the Ignite Business series with the SWAM, the you know, small business women's minorities, the business council. And so, like,
big on district voting too.
Yeah, and district voting. So people can miss me with, is Sabrina Wooten really a Democrat? That is some racist stuff you are pulling right out your little hat so that you can try to smear her and her position because you don't have anything else to run on, Cheryl Turpin.
Nikia, did you want to add on your thing that you wanted to jump onto right now?
Yes, I would. Since we, just finished having a conversation about people who don't pay their dues, but think that because they're entitled that they get to run for office against people who have done the work. Aaron Rouse has entered.
Yeah, the LG race.
Yeah. I'm hearing that sentiment a lot actually out in the world about Aaron running for the LG. I am taking the position of Aaron Rouse, Senator Hashmi. So Senator Rouse, Senator Hashmi, and Mayor Stoney, right? Stoney.
Mm-hmm.
LeVar Stoney, is running for lieutenant governor. I look at the lieutenant governor position much like I look at the VP position. Nobody really knows what they do. And it's just a political stepping stone for
God, did you hear me just snort?
It's true. And I am not shitting on Kamala Harris at all. Like, as a matter of fact, when people do try to shit on Kamala about, like, what does she even do anyways? I don't want her as president. I'm like, well, you're just a racist because you just don't want to see a black woman as president. And I don't care if Joe Biden is, like, hooked up to a Christmas tree behind him and in a hospital bed. That man, we need that man as president. And I don't care if he passes away 5 minutes after he's been sworn into office. Kamala Harris, Madam President.
President.
Right? So, but my point is that when people do shit on Kamala with me, the vice president, I say, well, who was your favorite vice president? Crickets. Oh, well, what does the vice president do? Crickets. You can say the same thing about lieutenant governor. Nobody gonna remember Senator Aaron Rouse as a lieutenant governor or Senator Hashmi as lieutenant governor. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Until it's a political stepping stone.
Just watch HBO's Veep if you really want to get a feel of that seat.
Okay, all right, good. I know people have asked me if I've watched Veep, and so many people have asked me if I watched Veep that I need to start watching Veep now.
Yeah,
Maybe I should watch Veep.
it's one of the most hilarious shows I've ever seen.
Yeah, so I just that's how I'm my approach is, and I have a personal relationship with Senator Rouse. I like him as a person. You know, I adore his wife, who's a councilwoman. And I like Senator Hashmi. I don't know her well. I've only interacted with her a few times, minimally, and I don't know Mayor Stoney. I've heard various things about him from my friends who live in Richmond. It's kind of across the board. But I'm gonna leave this to the voters. But again, I'm like, people don't really know what they do. They don't really know what it is. And so aside from my personal relationships or what I know about people, I am trying to be objective in my decision about the LG race. You know what I mean? And I'm not just jumping on the Aaron, bandwagon, because, I have watched him, go from councilman to senator, and now jumping in very quickly to try to climb that, political ladder. And he's done good work so far in the Senate. But politics is a drug, man. And you see how drugs affect people. And
this is what I'm gonna say, because I don't want it to be confused that because I'm venting about how I feel about Senator Rouse jumping into this race, that I have any issue with Aaron.
Yeah,
because I like Aaron.
Yeah.
And I love Jen.
Yep.
And this doesn't have to do with a dislike of Aaron.
Yeah.
It is that, number one, and this is actually with any person that is getting endorsements and doing all of this campaign shit, when this isn't their time. And when I say it's not their time, we are in a presidential cycle with local elections on the ballot for the first time in Virginia history.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't want to talk about governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, none of it until November 6th.
Same.
I don't want to discuss it.
Yep.
And honestly,
but we need to capitalize, Nikia, we need to capitalize on the fact that they must jump in
right now.
I don't
right now
about your LG race. I need to see you out here helping my school board, helping my city council.
Exactly.
And that will earn you my free labor in 2025.
Right.
But if you don't give me free labor in 2024, you ain't getting mine.
You ain't getting shit.
Not shit.
In 2025.
And I love you, Aaron, but like, no, that's the truth. That is absolute truth.
Same. And Mayor Stoney, Aaron, love it. But if you become a distraction in 2024, you are not getting shit from Nikia in 2025.
Right. Yeah.
Not a thing.
Yeah.
And that's just where my beef is on it.
Yeah.
It's like I'm irritated in it on two levels. When Aaron announced that he was running, the first thing that popped into my head was, if this is not Cheryl Turpin 2.0.
I know.
And
But at least he doesn't have to give up his Senate seat, right? He doesn't.
I'm not
No,
sure.
he doesn't have to give up his Senate seat, which kind of tying back to the mayoral stuff, Chris
Yeah.
has to give up his seat. And he only been in his seat less than 2 years.
Yep.
Same thing. We had a council person, inaugural, year that he gets into his seat, and boom, he's running for mayor.
Yep.
And now we have to have a special election to fill the seat, and we're probably going to get a more Republican-y Republican in that seat. Well, maybe not, because there's like 3 people running, and I definitely have word that there's a Democratic candidate coming in. I definitely know that for fact. So
Yeah.
So
Hampton is in a can almost be in a clean sweep situation, because in Hampton, Donnie the Tuck is not running for re-election. Thank you, sweet baby Jesus.
Oh, good.
But I know that, Hampton already has 3 seats that are up. There's, racist white dude Billy Hobbs. There's
not the porn guy, but the
prostitute scandal.
The sex
Chris Bowman, the prostitute. Hampton, you can't make this shit up. The guy, the councilman who got extorted by a prostitute, and
I mean,
then
I ain't mad at her, but whatever.
Look, I don't got a problem with the blowjob. What I have a problem with is the fact. No, listen, I
don't have a problem with it either.
Yeah, I don't care about it.
I don't care.
Like, I don't care about it. But what I got a problem with is, what the fuck was on that cell phone that made you want to pay $5,000 for it?
$5,000.
$5,000. He got extorted out of 5 stacks, yo, in the parking lot of the Careplex Hospital.
And just remember, as they like to say, city council is a low-paying part-time job.
He got extorted out of 5 stacks.
Dang. And where? Yeah, it is a low-paying job.
Listen,
Conrad, you make a good point.
I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know why he was willing to pay that dough. Because I'll tell you right now, as much as it would hurt me to do so, I'll go on that fucking on my iPad so fast and clear my phone. You can have it.
Boom.
And then I'll pay the $250 deductible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because even if the phone didn't clear, I don't have anything to hide.
Is he running for re-election?
Yes.
Oh, he is. Okay. Is he white guy or black guy?
White guy.
White guy.
All right, now I'm getting a message from one of the council candidates who just wants a little bit of clarification in their race as to if you may know of someone else who is running. Because the one to replace Taylor, I think, is Hines, Cummings, and Bond.
I like Hines a lot.
I don't know. Yeah, he seems pretty cool.
I think he's a Republican, but like he seems like
I think they're all 3 Republican.
Yeah, I think they're all 3. Stacey Cummings, Phil Hines, and somebody else.
Yeah, Hines was just on Arrington's show. So if people want to look him up, that's cool.
Okay, cool.
I think it was a good show. He's on the Parks and Rec Commission. I think a couple other ones too. He's really big on the Virginia Beach Trail and getting that done. So I think he is distinct even compared to the other Republicans.
Yeah, I talked to him one of the nights that we were at council. I can't remember which one, but anyways, we happened to be walking out together and talked to him. It seems nice.
But is that the race that you said was a fourth person that we
Yes.
don't know?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I know of them, but they do not know.
I don't yet know. So
Yes.
perhaps on another show.
It's a secret.
Or
Well, I'll tell
yeah.
you offline who it is.
Okay.
I know who it is, but yeah. So to whomever is inquiring, yes, there is a fourth person coming in the race.
All right.
And we are
Now,
very excited.
following up on that, and because it's like an hour and 15 minutes now that we've been doing a great show, in my opinion. What would be any final thoughts that we might want to have on these various local races?
Well, we need more people willing to become civically engaged, learning exactly how city council and school boards affect you and your family. And we need more people willing to step up to run for office. And we need more people that are willing to have conversations, just like I just said about Phil Hines. He's a Republican, but we had a great conversation. We've exchanged a few messages as well. And those are the conversations I like to have, right? We're not changing hearts and minds overnight, and we may never change some people's hearts and minds, right? Mm-hmm. But I think the only way that we can all get a better understanding of how these political races affect our families and what we want to do in our community and why we're doing it. I think that's something that's really important too. Like, why is the candidate running for office? Is it, stroke your ego? Is it because you want power? What is it, right? So we need to get people just civically engaged, like understanding how taxes work, understanding where your taxes go, understanding all these things. And then we just need people to step in and actually run for office. Serious people wanting to run for office. I'm tired of time wasters.
That's a good way to put it. Nikia, any final thoughts that you might want to provide either on Hampton races or Chesapeake, Virginia Beach?
Well, first of all, everything Melissa just said, like, cosign.
Thank you.
Across the board. But I'm going to add a couple of things. Number one, don't be afraid to be a revolutionary.
That's right.
Because some of these fuckers need to be told that they've been doing it wrong for generations.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's what changed history. Those are the things that change history.
Yeah.
Is revolutionaries.
Mm-hmm.
We make shit happen.
That's right.
Then I'm trying to think. When it comes towards the stuff that you learn, that people tell you, don't be afraid to be the fact checker on shit.
Yeah. And get primary sources.
Yeah, primary sources. Wiki is not a source.
TikTok could be a source, but
be a source.
You got to go source the source from what you see, because there's a whole lot of truth.
There's a whole lot of truth.
There's a whole lot of truth out there, but you got to source sources.
Yeah. I am one of those people that I thought a certain way about things, and then I had to literally get politically punched in my mouth in order to really check who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all the better for it.
Mm-hmm.
If
Absolutely.
you need to, if you want to learn about civics, if you want to learn how a bill becomes a law, we have to literally step, from, magic school bus and all that shit.
Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock. Why did I say magic school? Okay, yes.
Mhm.
But Schoolhouse Rock. How a
I'm
bill
just a bill out on Capitol
I'm
Hill.
just
Yeah.
a bill.
I'm sorry. But if you need that refresher, because the last time you saw it was your senior year of high school, I
Mhm.
teach the classes. Look me up. I'm on Daily Chaos at She Speaks Politics, Facebook, NIKIAMILLER. You want some help? I'm down. I teach the classes, because I can bitch about, the miseducation of people, but if I'm not going to be part of the solution, then I'm part of the problem.
Right.
And yeah,
That's awesome.
that's it. And Hampton is a shit show. Hampton is a shit show. Hampton.
I'm glad we clarified that.
Politically across the board, I need some people to be some revolutionaries and get your signatures in so that we can have some better options, because what we got on there right now ain't it.
That's right.
And before we close out, I would also like Melissa to give a chance to just share her stuff so people could follow her more.
Oh, well, I don't have myself branded or anything, but if you want to follow me on TikTok, which is where I have a lot of political content, I am Tattoo Maven, TATTOOMAVEN. I am also Tattoo Maven on IG. And you can catch me on Facebook or send me a message. I'm on most of the platforms, but
And if you want to take a snapshot of your favorite revolutionary
Mhm.
and tattoo it, where
Yes.
would you go?
Oh gosh, well,
Yes.
there. You want to come get your Angela Davis portrait? Come on down, get your Angela Davis portrait at the Collective Tattoo and Body Piercing.
There we go.
If you do it for me for free, I would totally rock Angela Davis portrait. I'm sorry. I'm just being funny.
Yeah, I listen. It's going somewhere. I'm not sure where I'm putting it yet, but
I love it. I love it.
Well, final shout outs. I want to mention that I think Miss Wooten is having a walk and talk over at Mount Trashmore this weekend. I think it's
Yes.
at 9 a.m. on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
And
it's Mount Trashmore.
yep, Mount Trashmore.
Mount Trashmore. My son's getting married on Saturday, so I'm not going.
There we go.
Yeah.
I would do the snapping, but it's cultural appropriation. So, now, I also want to mention that the Libertarian Party Hampton Roads will have a meeting on Sunday, and there was a comment in that I wanted just to shout them out because I like more and more people across the aisles to show up there and just shoot the breeze, if you will. But otherwise, from tonight, I think we covered all the bases, and I hope you guys enjoyed SchezzWho. For thanks to Nikia Miller and Melissa Lukeson. Hope you guys all have a great night.